Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Women Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, well, I've got to talk more about DEI and job employment, the political spectrum. Even like I'm gonna have to do a full part two on Miss Jasmine Crockett because, oh yeah, people don't like my first video when it's in my opinion, but also from the patterns and everything that I have noticed within the both political systems. And part of me feels like, you know what, if she is lying, it's not right. It won't be right. And at the same time, from what I'm reading, a lot of people in Texas are saying we've been calling him Hot Wheels for years. We've been doing that for a while. We've been doing that for a long time. And some were even like, why is the rest of America just now catching up? So I don't know. It's like, so that's why part of me just feels like she didn't really like, if that's something that her district or Texas has been doing, or at least the Democratic side. I mean, okay, it's not right if they're mocking and putting, because, yeah, especially coming from someone with a disability. I have been teased and mocked all my life. I was born with my disability, but I wasn't diagnosed until a lot later. But I was still teased and mocked and ridiculed and even like some of the name calling and everything. Like I would go to teachers and parents and just people. Oh, they must have a crush on you. They must like you, or they must want something from you. Don't mind them. Don't do like so. I already know about the awful, vile world of teasing and mocking, and the tone. And it's like a lot of people are putting her in such a prestige, in such a just statuesque type of way. But then they didn't put our present president in that circle when he mocked someone with a disability severely. He want like okay, a lot of you guys, if you didn't know, he has literally erased almost 200 words from like the government and everything like that. Guess what one of those words is? Guess what one of them is? It's in the corner. It's in the corner of your screen right now. Disability. He wants to erase all existence of disability. But it's like no one has a problem with that. No one. So I'm gonna have to do a full part two because it's just like a lot of people really don't like, for some reason they are trying their best to dog her out, to put her down and things. And but then a lot of people at the same time have no problem saying that person's the R word. I won't say it. I should like when the guys that absolutely hate me on dating apps and stuff, when they call me it, oh, I make sure to show their face and the word. I'm not going to say it, but I will show you the people who are, they'll say it in a second. All of them, like so many Republican men have called me that name. And, or a lot of Republican men, it's like they know that I won't date them, but then they still try to, oh, well, we could be friends. And then they start talking. And then I remember there's one guy, and there's a couple of Democrats like this too. Actually, okay, Democrat and Republican, but severely Republican. There's one Republican guy where he found out because I used to do like live streaming because I was bored during COVID or whatever. But I would say that I have a disability. And once he learned that, he was like, oh, no wonder you're single. No man's ever going to want you. You're so pretty. Why don't you get fixed? He was just like, you shouldn't be looking like no. He was like, you're too pretty to like not be able to walk and stuff. And like two or three, yeah, between 2 and 3 years later, he wrote me on the dating app. Are you still rolling around or can you walk yet? And that's how some men feel because he's not the only one. He's the one who did it in the most blunt, awful, stupid way. And especially since he is Republican, he had no chance with me anyway. So part of me is like, why are you checking in? But I don't know, it's just really funny and amusing because I'm good enough until I have a disability. Do you know how many guys on Bumble and a couple of the other dating apps, when they at first they match with me and they're so excited to talk to me, and they talk to me like every day. Like when I wake up, I have a message from them. But when I before I go to sleep, and I'm a night owl, so I stay up late. So then I get the good night, beautiful. You're so amazing. I can't believe how smart and how. But then once it click, because I do tell them I have a disability, like the first phone call and everything like that. But so at first they pretend they don't care. I repeat, they pretend they don't care. But then after a while, it kicks in. And I've even had some guys admit, yeah, well, I know you're amazing and everything. But then, like, once I started thinking about it, and, I go to the gym, or I like to do trails, and I like to fish, I like to do this, I like to do that. And it's like, you won't be able to come with me. And I'm like, I can't. It's like, so they don't have anything for people with disabilities. Like, oh, yeah, well, I wouldn't want to have to deal with all of that. Okay, so I probably can, but you don't want to. Like, so, but yeah. So, anyways, yeah, there's going to be a part two and a lot of conversations about the disability community. And of course, I have to talk about employment because it's but like I know this, like, and I've said some of the stories about my job nightmare. Because yeah, I talk dating nightmare, job nightmare, political nightmare, you name it. My life has pretty much kind of been a nightmare, especially my school, like Oakland University, nightmare. But yeah, it's like, and that's going to be part of the conversation because how how much does someone have to do in order to prove that they are not just a DEI hire, other than be white? Yeah, I said it. Other than being white and being male, what do we have to do to prove that we are not a DEI hire, to prove that we are capable and able and wonderful at doing the work that we either went to school for, that we trained for, or that we've been working for years, or that we deserve the promotion or whatever. Like, what does it take? How much do we need to do to prove ourselves? Because I feel like, especially in America right now, they're like within 90 days, well, 60, but it feels like 90, it feels like 3 years already, but it just feels like they don't want people with disabilities to have jobs, but then they don't want us to have the assistance so we can be independent. But then, and they say that we're lazy if we have money from the government or have assistance and things like that. But then again, they don't want us to work, or at least they want to limit the type of employment, which, again, I've been asking this in a few episodes, but what is a black job? What is a black job? And with all of the deportations, have we noticed, like, I mean, because there was an exception of like some doctors and everything, but a lot of construction workers, a lot of people that work on the farm and the minimum wage, like jobs on the farm and things like that, are these the jobs that he's trying to get us to go back to, and in a way that it'll be like looking in the mirror of history? Is that where he's going to want people with disabilities? I mean, because, yeah, watch the videos that I have linked right now because, yeah, he has hinted. And if you read the books about the Holocaust and about the people with disability, Because when it comes to the LGBTQ community and the disability community, those were like the first victims. Pay attention to the history, read and know your history. And so, like, when a lot of times, especially with my no good, just despicable, bigoted ex boyfriend, he says he was a Democrat, but over the last couple years since I broke up with him, part of me is just like, nah, he was in my opinion, he was just an outlier or whatever. But it was just, I remember when the orange guy was running for office the first time, and my ex noticed that I was nervous, and I was like, no, this isn't going to be good. This is not good. And he would mock me. And yeah, I'm going to do an entire, like, yeah. So you already know that's another story coming up. Okay. But it was just over time where he kept saying, like, especially with like when those racist bigot white men were walking with those tiki torches and stuff, saying that the Jews will not replace it. You know what they said, you know. But then it's really funny how those same people are now rooting for, yeah, it's really crazy how the Republican Party are, because they don't want them to replace them. But now with the war that's going on, with the situation that's going on overseas and stuff like that, they're on their side, but they don't want them to replace them. And yeah, I don't know. And then what Kanye said about, yeah. So I don't know. It's just, and I'm on topic, but I'm not on topic, because it's like, this is part of DEI, because diversity and equity and inclusion, it starts with understanding, educating, and surrounding yourself by people who are different than you, so that you can gain more perspective. And I just kind of feel like, as someone with a disability, I am stuck. It's either I'm trapped in an elevator, because most jobs don't have elevators. And that's the thing with some jobs, are they, like, there are, in my past, I went to so many interviews where they didn't have an elevator and they only had stairs. And I remember one interview specifically, because this guy was such a jerk. It's like he kept mocking me. And I mean, my legs, I had pain in my legs, but I still walked. It's like, I just thought, like, okay, I just don't pick up my feet. I just walk oddly. Why is everybody putting me down so much? Because he was just like, we don't have an elevator. How in the world do you think you're going to get to work every day? I'm not going to carry you. One, I never asked anybody to carry me anywhere. But now it's like, applying for jobs and things like that. If I go for a position and if I don't get the position, people are just going to shrug their shoulders and like, oh, okay, she didn't deserve it. But if I do get the position, a lot of people are going to say, oh, she only got it because of her disability, even though they took away DEI. Like, when I got some great and amazing positions in my past, either people would tell me, you only got that position because you're black. You only got that position because you walk weird. I've had people say, because I wasn't diagnosed, so they would tell me, because I walk weird, and they feel bad for me. They have pity for me. That one law office, I told that story about a month ago. The head lawyer, the boss, the person in charge of the entire office, said I was the most qualified, gave me the job. But then a previous because they were going to train me to be a pre-legal, because I even told them, I was like, I forgot what the job opening was for, but it wasn't pre-legal. But when I got there, I don't know if they already filled that position, that, like, it was closer to communications or marketing or whatever. But then they were like, oh, we'll train you, don't worry. But then their previous pre-legal got in. So then they decided they were going to give me the crappiest, most degrading job, to the point where I get called the N-word. I literally get called the N word, but the owner's like, oh, he was stressed out. You can't blame him. Oh, he was angry. You can't blame him. And then the next day, some rude, obnoxious, terrible black man calling me the B word and call like it's like I can talk to you any way I want to. I'm the one having to file for bankruptcy. I'm the one that's having to, and it's just like no, you can't. It's like, and that's when I had it, but then I get reprimanded, and to the point where I walked out. I was like, skip this, skip you, and this job was only paying like I think it was like 10, maybe $12 an hour. Yeah, yeah. And I kept trying to find jobs with my education. But each job, oh my gosh, you're so qualified. And I got hired for one, but I already told you guys the real estate story. The brother of the wife owner and everything like that. He would come in with hangovers, come in drunk, or not come in at all. Then I would have to do his work. Real estate agent. I'm not a real estate agent. I was there for marketing, but I would have to step in and have the owner on speaker and fill out the application by like because I'm like, okay, you sign here, and in the back of my mind I'm like, okay, double check, do this, do that, because this couple, like this one couple, their moving truck was at the house or on the way to the house, but the brother was so drunk he stayed, like he refused to go. And it's like these people depend on you. But then they laid me off because, well, the wife wanted free labor. So after they laid me off, they only hired free interns. Yeah, because they want to save some money. But they want them to do the same work. But yeah. And then even with my teaching, I got a position at a university, and it was a virtual interview, and they hired me the same day of my interview because they're like, oh, we're gonna think about it, and like a hour later, yeah, it was right about an hour, maybe less, and they gave me the job. And I told them I had a disability on all my paperwork. I had said I had a disability, but when the dean saw me face to face, yeah, he ignored me the rest of the semester. I would email and have questions and ideas. He ignored me. He never answered my emails. And then my so-called, because I emailed him and my so-called mentor. Okay, it's one thing if one doesn't answer, but when both of them ignore me the entire semester, yeah. And then other professors come up to me telling me to be careful because he mocks how I walk. And he says he can't believe he hired a cripple. It's like other professors are saying this is what he's saying. Yeah. And it's like I can go on and on. But what does someone like me have to do in order to find work, in order to find a job and not be considered DEI? Having to go to job interviews and like the interviewer tells me that I would already have to be in the room before the client because I would be a distraction, or the client is not going to go with our company because they're going to think I am not able or capable. This is what they said. But it's really unfair because I went to school. I finished my education. I worked so hard. I worked so hard, but they don't care. They don't understand that I did all of the work that was needed. And now that I am trying to get the job, I have the lack of elevators in my way, so many stairs with no wheelchair ramps in my way. I have people telling me that I would be an embarrassment or a distraction to their clients, or clients are not going to want to hire me. I have that, oh, they can call you the N word. I've been called the R word and stuff like that too, but it's, ooh, like especially, ooh, when you call me the N word, oh, it's over. It's like, because yeah, I remember like that day, but the day before I walked out, I already knew. I was like, okay, I need to start looking for more work. I'm going to leave this place as soon as possible. So the next day, when that guy, I was like, he didn't even know. He was like, he didn't know. That night when I got home, I was exhausted. I fell asleep applying to jobs because I had the laptop in my bed. I was applying. I literally fell asleep with the laptop in my bed because I was applying for jobs. And so it's just, I don't know. It's just annoying and frustrating because like I said, I went to school and I'm trying to pay back my student loans, but it's just and not only did I go to school and I finished, but like many of you already know that's been listening to my channel, I have 3 degrees: a bachelor's, an MA master's, and an MBA, master's in business administration. And I have 3 certifications, including hospitality and gamification. So I have the education. So when people try to tell me that I only got a job because of my disability, when they try to label me DEI, when my ex's mother tried to tell me the only reason I got into college is because I'm black, while her lazy, no good, arrogant, ignorant, like cold hearted son, white son, dropped out of college. But then when I try, like, even when I wrote my novel, like, I'm still like, trust me, it's like, yeah, it's like, if you don't know, it's like I'm working on publishing my first novel. I have 6 children's books, which if you wait until the end, you'll see some of my children's books. I have the images, blah blah blah. Anyway, it's like I am about to this year publish my first novel, and my one novel turned into 3. But when I wrote the first draft, and I was with him, and I asked him to read it because his oldest daughter read the first 2 or 3 chapters, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool! This is amazing! It's like, I can't believe you. It's like, you're talented, blah blah blah, whatever." And I was excited, and I asked him, and he told me, "Only if you publish it." Yeah, he told me, "Only if you publish it." And there's a lot of men out here who, they see me and I tell them I have a disability, and then all of a sudden they tell me, "Oh, first let's spend all of your savings, all of your investment money," because I feel like some men want to make sure they trap me. Because I've had guys like, "Ooh, let's use your money as a vacation for both of us." And it's like, it'll be congratulations, you finally found your husband, you found your boo. And I'm like, you sound so stupid. It's like, but I feel like some of the men want me to use all of the money. So when I come back, I am fully dependent on them. And with my ex, he used to mock me, tease me about investing, about saving my money, but that while he is always asking me for gas money, for money for food so he can feed him and his daughters. And it's like, with how evil his youngest daughter is, I mean, it's in my opinion, but you've already heard stories about her, and I have plenty more. But to me, she's an evil, vindictive, awful, terrible human being. And don't worry, I'm getting my petty. It's like, yeah, never date a smart, petty woman, because we will figure out how to drag. Yeah, let's just say, yeah, well, we know how to drag legally. Yeah, yeah, and I have a vindictive laugh right now, but anyway. So I don't know. It's just really frustrating when I try to find a job, and as a person with a disability, and even dating, like trying to find the job, and then men telling me, "You're a woman, you're supposed to be home." Having an ex telling me, "I'll only read it if you publish it." But then when I break up with him, and there's over 40 reasons that I broke up with this man, but that's when he begged to read my book because he thought that's how he was going to get me back. And I'm like, I'm not dumb. No. And then there's other guys. There's so many men who they either broke up with me because I was publishing books, or they would tell me if I wrote a book, it'd be better than yours. If I wrote a book, it'd be like an encyclopedia. If I wrote a book, like, if, okay, take that if out, write a book. If it's going to be better than mine, let it be better than mine, write it. And the same thing goes with jobs. Like some jobs tell me, like, because they ask me about my experience or about my ideas, and I tell them, and then they're like, oh, well, I think this will be better. And I'm like, okay, then do it then. And, or where'd you get these ideas? I came up with them on my own. Oh, no, but who helped you? Because a lot of people think either because I have a disability or because I'm black or because I'm a woman, I'm not capable of having my own authentic ideas. I don't know where they got that from. Because, honey boo boo, sorry to tell you, yeah, these ideas are all my own. And it's just, well, you guys tell me, especially if you have a disability or if you are black, especially. If you're a person of color, some of you guys go through the same thing. But just know, I am working on an episode all about the Little Mermaid and Snow White because my brown people, like my Asians especially. Do you guys know how much you hate us? Do you guys know how much you hate us? Yeah, you really do. It's interesting, but it's sad at the same time because even going for jobs, I've had brown people tell me that I'm not smart enough, or black people aren't capable, or black people can't do this, or they understand why a white person or an Asian person got the job over me because, and sometimes they would have stereotypes and things like that. So it's pretty insulting, but it's not all like, it's not all white people. It's not all white people. And that's why also when it comes to voting, I just think it's kind of like now a lot of Middle Eastern or Asian or Hispanic people are begging or asking for black people to help them, especially black women. Nah, boo boo. I did my work. I voted. I paid attention. And when it comes to DEI, I am the definition of why we need DEI because I have worked my tush off to work and to have a career. I am far from lazy. But then when I try to start my business, people are like, oh, you can't do that. You're not capable of that. You're not smart enough. You don't have all these ideas. But then when I have the ideas, you need my help. You're not capable. It's like, you can't do this on your own. And I keep seeing how other people see me. And it's just crazy. It's crazy, but not frightening because it's only alarming that it's just really alarming how a lot of them are now telling me what they expected. And I didn't even have enough time to talk. Like a lot of men, like they want me to use all my money so I could stay home and not work. But then who's going to pay for the student loans? But then they just want to knock me up and make me cook, clean, and everything like that. Because since I'm just a DEI anyway, I'm no use to the system anyway, you know? But we have to remember who, yeah, they took away disability, and well, you know the rest. But we have to remember who, yeah, they took away disability, and well, you know the rest. But I'm going to have a part two, but thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too.